This story will cover from then to now and next, all about change, how to turn losers into winners. It's all happening at this festival on the big Italian island of Sardinia. A fertile place, both on land and at sea. The city of Cagliari has been the home of a Bond girl from the film Casino Royale, a perfect person to show us around the coast, right around and back to here.
This is my home, Cagliari, in the Mediterranean island of Sardinia, in Italy. I was born here and feel strongly about what is happening now and the future. That will affect everyone who lives here or visit this beautiful place with a spectacular coastline and wild natural beaches. We will take a trip right around Sardinia and I will show it to you in, I hope, an entertaining way. It involves me as a local person and a white bird.
Caterina will be our guide from below, with a white bird above to start with, in this case a pink and white bird. We'll add some broader facts about Sardinia's wildlife as we travel right around the island. These gulls are paddling to stir up tiny food. Whereas this little egret is running after small fish, and all this on the edge of Caterina's big city, Cagliari, where egrets fly alongside jets and amongst traditional other fishermen. Flamingos sieve plankton from the lagoon, and every now and then a feeding frenzy amongst the gulls and flamingos breaks out. It's a big flat place, so extra height is very helpful. One problem of living so close to the city is civilization, in the tall, dangerous form of electricity pylons and wires. Flamingos are not very agile flyers and can crash into these cat's cradles of cables. They travel a lot around the Mediterranean, breeding where conditions are right.
Our white bird could be a flamingo or a seagull. Here in Sardinia we have a special sort, a rare Odwin's gull.
This is the common kind of gull, the so-called seagull, with behaviour much changed as they've taken advantage of our modern disposable lifestyles.
How things have changed. 3,000 years ago this was a city, the largest in the whole of Sardinia. Now a third of it is underwater, a home for fish, and the remains, here on the land, have become an important tourist attraction.
A bird's eye view of much of the northern shore of the Mediterranean will reveal lots of development. The southern shore, Africa, less so, like Egypt, Tunisia and Libya, for obvious reasons. These white birds may visit all those places, provided there are internationally protected wetlands where they can rest and feed. It's a flock of squacco herons. And a great traveller too, a tern, a migrating fisherman, if ever there was one, arriving at San Antioco with Caterina, who is asking the human fisherman how things are going these days. Broadly speaking, catches are down all around the Mediterranean. A few small boats is not a problem, but when the big ships turn up with their powerful equipment, the local people suffer, and future generations of marine life may collapse. Those opportunist skulls will cope, but the fishing human families may struggle. All this diversity is potentially very sustainable, that magic if misused word. They're very prolific and can continue to repopulate the oceans if sanctuaries are set up and quotas enforced. This can be a win-win situation. Cuttlefish, squid, crabs, lifeblood to these men.
Guarda, io vorrei che per me guarda, è così il calcio, cancella, non me ne No.
Come Dio, americano che ha
Guardiamo se posso giocare qui. Tipo sta conca,
Sono 600 grammi, sei io, va bene?
And to the community of San Antioco.
Arrivederci. Guarda. Venga qua. Venga qua.
And our two white guides move on.
Between here and there, once a year, a most extraordinary migration takes place.
Bluefin tuna, now one of the most valuable fish in the world, partly due to its rarity because of human greed, overfishing. In the past, bluefins, also known as the Porsche of the sea, have been trapped in huge nets when they pass on migration to spawn in the eastern Mediterranean. Many, of course, don't make it, thus depriving humans of future breeding stock. Global quotas are discussed, agreed, then broken. Such is the greed for sushi. This killing is called the matanza, actually a Spanish word. From Calasetta now heading north, having passed along the south and southwest coast of Sardinia, to a desolate coast as wild and remote as anywhere in Sardinia. Long stretches of sand and sand dunes facing south or west are a prime target for the tourism business. Go there before it's gone is what you get in the media, and unless the place is firmly protected, it will be just that, gone, and look like anywhere else on the northern coast of the Mediterranean. The gull drops in, and so does Caterina, where both may benefit from the resources of the sea. The marshes, so important for wildlife, hopefully undrained and unpolluted, are under increasing pressure in Europe. One harvest reeds enclose another, grey mullet, a fish that can move easily between salt and fresh water, like the little egret, a real little winner, having spread across Europe wherever the fishing is good.
eccola qua. Non ce la faccio, no. Non lo mangio crudo io. Lo mangio crudo, non ce la faccio a mangiare crudo. No.
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immacolata, candelas de po' a lui. E tra la lera, 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 la lera, 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 la lera, la lera. Candelas de po' a lui.
Abita a Londra.
Rispondi, no?
No, ho tutto il socio. E che usa?
No.
Good for business, but the future?
This is Mag de Cabras, grey mullet. There are many kinds of fish, important food for the people all over the world. This local person just said, the sea is getting poorer and poorer because there's not legal control.
All over the world through time, both sea birds and sea men have tried many different, often ingenious ways to capture their prey, their food. Whether it's a gull, an egret or us, an understanding of the prey's behaviour, the tidal changes and the tricks of the trade can be successful. Simply a window into the watery world of a shellfish. Ropes and traps are an advance on that, but can the seas around Sardinia stand the pressure?
There is another solution.
Yes, there is a solution. Globally, fish farming has increased enormously, but the bad news is that the food for that underwater crop, here sea bass, is or is derived from fish anyway, so the sea can still suffer a loss. Then there's disease from overcrowding and parasites to contend with. The product is standardized, the equivalent of chickens, mass reared on land. So Katerina has found out a bit more about where her fish might come from, farmed or free range, out there, with an exciting surprise.
Hey!
Sea turtles get caught in nets and can drown. This one's a survivor.
No! Sto marito è andato appena. Gatto
Katerina moves on to a more luxurious spot.
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immacolata, candelas de po' a lui. E tra la lera, 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 la lera, 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 la lera, la. Candelas de po' a lui, dei moyas adorra.
Where is him, my little friend?
One of the most special hotels in Sardinia, indeed in Italy. Not that a gull is that fussy, as long as some scraps, however fancy, are available.
Every day he stayed there, family, father and mother. He check everything from the bay. But this years we have a special history because it was May. During the month of May, the hotel was full, and in May they do eggs. So, but what is strange because the seagulls do the eggs in the terrace.
Gulls now breed on roofs all over the world.
And he stayed here 2 months, and step by steps he tried to fly, and 2 weeks ago he started the first flying with the Mistrals, because the Mistrals coming from there, and it was so strong, probably was 2-3 kilo, but he started to fly just 2 weeks ago. Maybe if we have a chance, we will find him late downstairs. I call it the Jonathan because Jonathan Livingstone, the seagull. The Hotel El Faro was built in 1956. This is very special because in 1956, in the same period, in other part of Italy, the tourism building just a simple box with a cement. And the architect that projected this hotel, he want to integrate the nature and the hotel. And he designed this hotel like in a boat. So we have the stern of the boat just in front of us. We have the deck of the boat. This architect was Antonio Simon Mossa, and it was in 1956 when he started to design this hotel. But for me, he was a very important man. He worked with the moral, so it was with the soul. And in Alghero, he designed also the steps that go into the caves with the same systems of the Hotel El Faro. So integrating the nature. If you go from the sea, you can't see the steps that go inside of the caves.
They say there's a man lying out there in the sea, his mouth on the right with a lighthouse for a nose, well, sort of. You can climb down the steps in the cliff, but tourists like a boat trip to Neptune's cave, though that can be hazardous too. Sea caves used to shelter rare monk seals around the Mediterranean, but intrusion by boats, big and small, and divers have now driven them to the most remote and inaccessible caves, where they may be able to breed, to produce offsprings of their own. Geology is worth money around the world. On a much bigger scale, think of the Grand Canyon, Everest, Victoria Falls, all epic tourist attractions worth millions. A strong case for protection. There's a gull always on the lookout, in this case watching divers searching below. And Caterina is searching too in a shop.
We need 40 years of waiting for a huge branch of coral to work again. Then it's going poorer and poorer, the sea now.
Yeah. Yeah, because before there was coral at 40 and 50 meters downwater, and now they go 120 meters down.
The shop.
How many polyp? Meraviglioso. €500, only one of these. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. €2,000. It's something.
She's checking the real cost of red coral here. formed by millions of polyps over the years. Worldwide, humans are taking more and more from the sea, long-lived creatures, but a short-term attitude. There's no future in that for anyone.
Io adesso lo sto solo assemblando. Che bello. Sì?
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immaculata, candelas de po' a lui.
We're now at the northwest, top left-hand corner of Sardinia, and Caterina has been invited on a boat trip of her own. She's in for a surprise.
Candelas de po' a lui, dei moias adorrada, de gelu versa lui.
Yes, one of those ubiquitous plastic bags which turtles and whales consume, thinking they're jellyfish. This blocks the stomach and the animal dies of starvation. This now happens in all the oceans of the world. Our blue planet is becoming a plastic planet. That's no laughing matter.
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immaculata, candelas de po' a lui. Candelas de po' a lui, dei moias adorrada, de gelu versa lui.
The beach business is massive. Despite warnings about the sun and skin cancer, tourists are attracted by clean blue seas, widely advertised by blue flags.
Candelas de po' a lui, dei moias adorrada, de gelu versa lui.
Internationally, it's proving to be a balancing act, combining coastal development with a wild shoreline. From the northern tip of Sardinia, via the famously exclusive and expensive Costa Smeralda, we're now heading back south, on the east coast, where marinas are expanding. There's golf too, with the local inhabitants. Can you...
Hey, come here. Hey. 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 Joe. 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 Okay, we go. Ciao, Tarto.
Golf buggies, boats of all sorts. Wildlife.
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immaculata, candelas de po' a lui.
And other transport. Everything is possible here, at a cost.
You have no idea how refreshing it is to bathe in these crystal clear waters. Tourism brings wealth to the island, and one major attraction, it is a beautifully clean sea.
Discreet, expensive, with room for wildlife, which is not often seen. Discreetly camouflaged too. Until it moves, a walking leaf, a big grasshopper. Others are more conspicuous. Both the bee and the hummingbird hawkmoth are spreading north in Europe, helped by climate change. And people are migrating too, though terrorism is sadly a factor of life these days. This can affect tourism badly, and Katerina is trying to find out about the future with the management. Difficult to say. So much has changed in Europe and may change in the future.
Io sono il presidente della società delfina.
And just in case the bird doesn't come, I've brought my own.
On south to Carlaganoni, about halfway down the east coast, where the benefits of a beautiful coastline are proved every summer. Boat business is big business, wherever tourists want to come. From the busy port is a short trip to the caves, but there's something special missing now. It's a people problem. This wild coastline was once undisturbed and sheltered a rare animal that could have been an extra attraction if carefully managed, if it proved possible. The Mediterranean monk seal gone.
This may be the only way to see a monk seal on a postcard.
But there are still special creatures in Sardinia's seas. The strange-looking sunfish that feeds on plankton. The fin whale, the second largest in the world after the blue whale. And finally, back home to Cagliari, in the far south of Sardinia.
My friend is here too. When I started my journey, I had forgotten how beautiful my island was. I looked at the past and the present, all along the coast, and saw how carefully my island has been cared for. How the Sardinian people try hard to correct the mistakes of the past. I feel proud of my island and its breathtaking beauty, and I'm confident the future is in safe hands.
Candelas de po' a lui, a Maria Immaculata, candelas de po' a lui. E tra la lera, 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 la lera, 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 la lera, la. Candelas de po' a lui, de moias adorada, de gelu versa lui. E tra la lera, lera, la lera, lera, candelas de po' a lui. E tra la lera, lera, lera. Candelas de poalui, de moias adorrada, de gelu verzadui. Lera, lera, la, lera. A Maria Immaculada. Candelas de
Tourists brings wealth to the island. And one major attraction, it is a beautifully clean sea. What the cameras have shown you cannot compare to what I saw with my own eyes. I thank God I was born in this lovely island of Sardinia.
Candelas de poalui, de moias adorrada, de gelu verzadui. Lera, lera, la, lera. A Maria Immaculada. Candelas de poalui, a Maria Immaculada, candelas de poalui.